What's up guys, it is Offensive Seahawks fan back with another video, and today I'm right out of bed today. Rolled out of bed right to my computer to film. Anyways, I'm going to give you the top 10 best rivalries in NFL history. This is opinion based, so I don't care if you disagree. Number 10, the Patriots and the Jets. The Patriots and the Jets have maintained a bitter rivalry since the 1960s. The two have been evenly matched in the past, but lately the Patriots have dominated the rivalry. The Patriots and Jets have a history of coaching changes that only added to their mutual disdain. New York was accused of cheating in signing Bill Parcells as head coach in 1997. 3 years later, Bill Belichick became the Jets head coach and signed with the Patriots just 24 hours later. But in 2007, Jets coach and former Patriots assistant Eric Mangini exposed New England tactics of illegally videotaping New York's offense and defensive cues, making the Patriots forfeit their first-round pick in the 2008 draft. The Patriots lead the series 73-54-1 all-time. Number 9, Raiders vs. Chiefs. Granted, the rivalry between the Raiders and the Chiefs has gotten less intense since the move to Las Vegas, but it's still very much alive. The hatred of NFL rivals, the AFC West, grew in the 60s and into the 70s, often destroying playoff hopes for each other, and the Chiefs are one of the few teams with a track record of winning against the Raiders. It's one. In 2020, the Raiders won their first season in Las Vegas at Arrowhead Stadium. It was the Raiders' first victory since 2012, and the Raiders celebrated beating their rivals with a victory lap around the stadium on the team bus. The Chiefs, though, lead this series 72-54-2. Number 8, Steelers vs. Browns. The Steelers and Browns are just 135 miles apart, and the two teams have forged the biggest rivalry in the NFL since the 1950s. Both teams had their own dominant periods in the rivalry, but it was the Steelers who recorded more wins. In 2021, the two sides met in the playoffs for the third time, with the Browns winning 48-37 at Heinz Field. It was Cleveland's first playoff win over Pittsburgh and their first playoff win in 26 years. The Steelers lead this series 80-62-1. Number 7, Packers vs. Vikings. The Packers and the Vikings have been one of the top rivalries in NFL history since the Vikings became an NFL expansion franchise back in 1961. And when they joined the league, the loyalties of Western Wisconsin fans suddenly split, and the loyalties of friends and family suddenly split between the two teams. The Packers-Vikings game is one of the most important games in the NFC, and decides the NFC North, as Minnesota has had more success against Green Bay compared to the Bears and the Lions. The Packers do obviously lead this series 65-57-3. Number 6, Cowboys and Commanders. One of the biggest NFL rivalries between the Cowboys and the Commanders takes place in the NFC East. Both of these teams have won their respective divisions, but their rivalry in the NFL began with the song in 1958. Washington was nearly sold to Dallas oil tycoon Clint Murchison Jr., but owner George Preston Marshall backed out of the deal. Murchison Jr. was not satisfied with this, and in retaliation bought the music rights back to the fight song Hail to the Redskins. Murchison Jr. claimed the rights to the song for a ransom and threatened to stop Washington from using it. The confrontation continued as Marshall was effectively blackmailed into an NFL expansion franchise approval vote in Dallas. And the Cowboys lead the series 76-48-2. Crazy story. Number 5, Eagles vs. Commanders. Eagles and Commanders are surprisingly close in their head-to-head stats. Both teams have historically enjoyed success in the NFL, but in 1990, the body bag game occurred. That the rivalry reached a new level. Before this game, Eagles head coach Buddy Ryan boasted that Washington players must be taken away in body bags. The Eagles ended up knocking out 9 Washington players, and both teams' starting and reserve quarterbacks left the field with injuries. The Commanders surprisingly lead this series 89, 83, and 6. Number 4, Cowboys versus Eagles. The Cowboys and Eagles are probably the most well-known, or if not one of the most well-known, rivalries in NFL history and have a long history with each other. The two teams first met in the 1960s and feuds escalated in the 80s. 1989 saw the infamous Bounty Bowl, named after Jimmy Johnson, who accused the Eagles of betting bounties on Cowboy players. As the two teams played, Philadelphia fans began throwing things at Cowboys players and coaches in the face of Johnson's allegations. A decade later, in 1999, when the two met, 3-time Super Bowl wide receiver Michael Irvin suffered a career-ending injury for the Cowboys, and Eagles fans being the way they are, they cheered as coaches and paramedics tied up Irvin and carried him off the field. Cowboys lead the series 73-55. I hate Eagles fans more than ever. Number 3, Steelers and Ravens. This rivalry began in 1996 after the Ravens joined the league as an expansion team, I think. Both fan bases have built up an intense hatred for each other that is only gonna grow more. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is even considered the Ravens' official secondary market, with players like Big Ben, Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, and one of the greatest NFL internationals of all time. Hines Ward starring in inter-team matches. This rivalry has some of the best encounters. There was one instance, one of the craziest moments in the rivalry was when the Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin sabotaged a kickoff return in Baltimore in 2013, resulting in a $100,000 fine. I'm pretty sure he was asked what happened on a podcast, and he literally tried to say, it was an accident or something like that. Dude, bull crap, you literally stuck your foot out. Shut up, dude. Anyways, the Steelers lead the series 33-23. Number 2, I bet no one expected this one, Steelers and Bengals. The Steelers will face the NFL's second biggest rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers have dominated this rivalry in the past, and 2020 finally saw the Bengals suffer an 11-game losing streak against the Steelers. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati have an AFC North, which was physically very vicious and sometimes out of control. In 2016, Vontez Burfict hit Antonio Brown so hard that he passed out before he even touched the ground. Since then, Brown has looked like a different person. Very, very different person. With some believing he was suffering from the effects of CTE from that hit. Probably agree with that one. And in 2017, Juju Smith-Schuster knocked out Burfict with an illegal block in what many viewed as resolution for Burfict's attack on Brown the previous year. And it was just awesome seeing, because no one likes that piece of crap Burfict. He's a douchebag. He ends careers for fun. The following season, Burfict was again fined $112,000 for needless disrespect to Antonio Brown and running back James Conner. Steelers lead this series 68-39. And number 1, the best rivalry in NFL history, the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Just recently in 2017, the Packers overtook the Bears in all head-to-head matches. Teams have competed against each other since 1921. That's over 100 years. With Green Bay and Chicago historically being one of the best teams in the NFL, Chicago and Green Bay have developed a geographic rivalry as NFC North rivals. Chicago is about a 30-minute drive from the Wisconsin border, but the Illinois native doesn't like the cheeseheads in Wisconsin, just as Wisconsin residents have a strong hatred for calling Chicagoans fish tabs or this. The Packers lead the series 105-96-6. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Go Hawks!